Hello and welcome back. So there's been another fatal stabbing of 3 people, this time in Glasgow, in the Park Inn Hotel. So the man who was responsible for the killings and the stabbings has been shot dead by police after the stabbing in Glasgow Hotel. So, good guy with a gun stops bad guy with a knife. Okay. So a man has been shot dead by police after a stabbing attack at a hotel in Glasgow city centre. 6 people are being treated in hospital for their injuries, including a 42-year-old police officer who is said to be critical but stable. And the officer in question is David White, who has been named as the police officer seriously injured in a stabbing attack at a Glasgow hotel. He was one of 6 people injured in the attack at the hotel, which is currently housing asylum seekers. And, as they say, what happened? Well, armed police were called to the Park Inn Hotel on West George Street at 12:50 after reports of a stabbing incident and arrived on the scene within 2 minutes. Well done, good response. Police Scotland says the male suspect died after being shot by specialist officers from the force. Sources had earlier suggested 2 other people had died, but only one, the suspect, had been shot and died. Assistant Chief Constable Steve Johnson said the incident is not being treated as terrorism, and police were continuing to investigate the circumstances. There was no longer any threat to the public, but people were being asked to avoid the area. The 91-room hotel is understood to have been housing about 100 asylum seekers during the coronavirus pandemic. Right, so they're not mentioning the suspect, the culprit, who was killed, and it was in an asylum seeker hotel. So, are they suggesting it was somebody who thought, they are the asylum seekers, I'm going to go and take them out? Or could it be something else? Well, the BBC doesn't want to mention. All they will mention about it is that one of the people who died was a man of African descent. But the person in question, well, from the Telegraph, what we've got here of what happened. A suspected attacker has been shot dead by police after going on a stabbing spree inside a Glasgow city centre hotel. The suspect was an asylum seeker. Makes a lot of sense now, who went on a rampage after complaining about the hotel meals served to him during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of all things, the knifeman, who was from Sudan, had threatened violence against other refugees and complained he was very hungry in recent days after being rehoused in the hotel, an activist told the Telegraph. So obviously if people have their own cultural beliefs, they of course have dietary requirements as well, and if we're all going through a pandemic and if you're a refugee, then of course you escaped from a war zone, I would have thought you'd be very pleased to have had a place to stay and food to eat. But no. Maybe he's not escaping from a war zone. Maybe he's opportunistic, perhaps been lied to about how good the life is in the West, or what his intention should be, and is therefore not taken kindly to his surroundings. So what we know. Police said the suspect has been shot and has died. Good stuff. 6 people remain in hospital with injuries, including David White, the police officer 42. He is in critical but stable condition. Get well soon. The other men in hospital are aged 17, 18, 20, 38 and 53. The attack was at the Park Inn Hotel on West George Street, and armed police were seen storming the building, and it is not terror-related. And again, so the refugees are all men. Good job, guys. So this time it did not, of course, happen on the back of a Black Lives Matter protest. So, of course, there is civil unrest in regards to that. Yes, that Scotland is 98% white, and so you wouldn't expect that they'd have much of a grounding in Scotland, but they are definitely trying in their parliament to force that stuff through and to look to America and blame Scotland for America's perceived problems as well. It's a bit backwards, really, but that's what they're trying to do. It seems like the Karens have won over the Bravehearts within Scotland. You've got to become a more civilized society, and I suppose when you come down to a matriarchy, things tend to devolve pretty damn quickly. So, as always, it's, police are otherwise engaged, and it's on the back of civil unrest, so there are more opportunities, and then it's an asylum seeker again who was responsible for doing this. And what has the reaction been? Nothing to point out why it might have happened. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said her thoughts were with everyone caught up in this terrible incident. This mass stabbing. I also want to thank all of those police officers whose quick and decisive actions contained the incident, one of whom was among those taken to hospital, as well as the work of the other emergency services, she said. But yes, very, very good, very important. I don't think that the police wish to sign up for this, and if we see a trend like that, and we see, so police, basically, you know that the main people you're going to come up against are going to be people who hate the West and don't respect you because of the things that the people who pay you, the politicians essentially, are aggravating the people to make your life more difficult. And if you try and speak out about that fact, then you will get fired, suspended, or worse, you might get imprisoned. That at some point it's going to be the police, you're going to get a blue flu, as they say, like in Seattle, where the police just don't turn up because they're concerned that they can't do their job properly. The people in charge make their jobs more difficult by aggravating the people that they're trying to deal with to lose all respect for the police and the rule of law. And then if the police try and say anything about it or do anything about it, then they're branded as racist or xenophobic or just a bad, terrible person. And then they have to go through their whole suspensions and tribunals and a whole system that they really don't want to go through, in which case it really does not pay to be a police officer. If your idea is to serve and protect, and then you can't do that job, then why would you continue with the job name if you can't do the job role? Boris Johnson wasn't much better. He said he was deeply saddened by the terrible incident. David Hamilton, Scottish Police Federation chairman, said the incident was what you dread as a police officer going into a scene like this. It's pretty clear that the circumstances they have been met with were really pretty horrific, and what they would have to deal with has been exceptionally brave in terms of their actions thereafter. And again, you would have thought an incident, it's like, somebody was trying to find a parking space outside the hotel and bumped another car, and there was an incident there. So, yeah, you kind of think an incident, it'll be a bit of a traffic thing or a fender bender, if you will. But no, this incident is 3 people being stabbed to death, 6 more in hospital. And as I know the academic agent likes to point out, that the leftist language games to try and downplay anything on their side and to upplay anything on the opposition side, because of course they see their side as holy and saintly and the opposition side as evil instead of just misinformed, and that is what they will continue to do. So there's been an incident in Scotland, nothing to see here. Let's not address why it happens, why these things keep happening, and especially on the back of Reading. That's all for now, so until next time, have a good one.